We hope everyone enjoyed the film. I want to thank our community members, our cast, our crew, everyone who poured all of their heart and effort into making this production, this historical document that examines the rich filmmaking history of our community and shows the importance of keeping media in our schools and in our communities. Thank you very much. At this time, I want to invite to the stage our Lifetime Achievement recipient from last year, prior president of LMC and one of the founding members of LMC Media, Miss Sunny Yedis Goldberg.
Great. Oh, terrific. Look where we are. Do you believe this place, you guys? I mean, the amount of restoration done with integrity and caring about history, what you have done, Elgart family, is help our kids and everybody in our community learn about the history, and we can pass that on. Matt saves things, I promise. And we thank you, Harvey, now Karen, who I just met, Andrew and his lovely wife, and Noah for doing this for us. It's very much like I think about LMC Media. You've given us a place to come together as a community. Bravo to you. And Matt, where are you? There you are. Wow, I loved the film. I can't believe what you and your group, I mean, I know how much time that takes, and not just the interviewing, but the editing and everything. And you're the backbone and heart of LMC, and we thank you. And now, for the most important part of the evening, in my personal opinion, we're going to give Jeff Meighan, good son, Jeff Meighan, an award for his visionary and community building. I had so much fun reading Jeff's biography, and I'll just give you a little bit of it. But Jeff was raised here. He went to school here. He then went on to Brown and NYU, and came back, NYU Law, and came back to practice law with a family. I kept reading this over and over again, that has practiced law in Mamaroneck since 1897. Wow. Pretty amazing. And Jeff is still hanging in there. His son is working with him, and I'm sure he'll keep things going. Jeff has done so much volunteering and is so philanthropic. He was one of the co-producers, co-founders of the Washingtonville Housing Alliance. And if you don't know how important that is to our community, you can ask so many who've been housed. He also served on lots of boards, from the Rotary to the Mamaroneck Library, and he was an advisor to the Community Resource Center, Hunger Task Force, and the Community Counseling Center. It's, you know, how we got him in LMC, I don't know. But we were very lucky in 2013. Jeff came on board, and he was recognized for all his participation in community events and everything he did around here, and how much he loved this place that he called home. He didn't stop working for a minute on getting the word out, bringing people in, stakeholders who were important to the community but may not have known about LMC. He just kept working to keep our community not just connected, but aware of how important media can be. And he made a wonderful move when he married beautiful Marcia, and they together have 7 children and 10 grandchildren. How lucky are you? And I must say that I really look forward to giving you this award, Jeff. Earned amazingly, and I'd like to, before I do, quote you by saying something that you quite often said. I want to be the conductor to make sure that all voices are heard. You did that. Congratulations, and come on up and get your award. You take that, I'll take this. That's a long way to go, Mr. Meighan. Good for you, Jeff. It's beautiful.
Thank you. It almost looks like a sailboat. That's great.
Ooh, that's right. May have to share it with
Appropriate for our
Ferris.
harbor. Thank you, Sonny. And what an appropriately named woman, Sonny. I mean, what she's done for the village is absolutely incredible. I'm blown away by what LMC Media, I just stepped down as president after 7 years. I am blown away by the skill and dedication of Matt Sullivan and Dina and the staff and the board, but particularly the skill of putting this together. I mean, what ambiance do we have here today with this reopened theater, this wonderful film, all of the local people that have been mentioned on it and interviewed. It's just astounding to me as well as it is to you folks. I do want to introduce my family, my gorgeous wife, Marcia. We have a collective, as Sonny said, collective 7 children and 10 grandchildren, and we have my daughter, Laura, Meighan Hoffman, Allison Meighan, Jed Meighan, Maggie Hodenot, Jake and Cooper Hodenot, who are students at Hummocks, and maybe they're going to take some guidance from this film. And my brother, Bruce. So I want to thank them all for being here. Plus, my many friends. I want to talk a bit about volunteerism and communication. We live in a tri-community area that has tons of organizations and superb volunteers. I mean, we start with the village of Mamaroneck that has 100% volunteer firemen, fire department. What happened with Ida and all of the people who jumped in and helped. It is astounding to see. But I want to take a moment to talk about 3 people who came before and have passed away, and 3 people who haven't and are here. The first one is, there's a woman named Julie Sibley. Some of you may have heard her name. We used to have a human resources department in the village of Mamaroneck, and that doesn't mean how to hire people and vet them and fire them and policy and so on. It was a resource for humans. And Julie Sibley led that department, and she had tons of volunteers, and one of them was my stepmother, Grace. She did more for this village. It was just incredible. She did get together a group. She was on the 3rd floor in a little office. I see Mayor Susie shaking her head because she remembers her clearly. she got a bunch of people together and started talking about the housing. And she started a nub of people. She got them to meet in the library. I remember Gene Wasserman was one of them. And out of that, I got involved because Julie would convince you of anything. And evolved out of that were two groups. I led one, and another woman who I'm mentioning now led the other, and it was the impetus of Washingtonville Housing Alliance. And that's a woman named Marcella Garland. She was a stalwart in this village. She was associated with the First Baptist Church. Her family was preachers there. And by the way, the First Baptist Church has more water than it needs for baptism. So if you want to help them out, they're by the river and they need rebuilding. And you call up James Taylor. No, not the one that plays a guitar and sings. It's Dr. Reverend James Taylor, a wonderful pastor there. Next, person I want to mention is one who recently passed away, and that is Keith Yeiser. And Keith worked at the Mamaroneck High School, and he worked with youth. Anybody he saw had a problem, he called them up into his little cubbyhole of an office. He would buy things for them. He would talk to their family. He was a wonderful institution. He knew everybody in the village, and everybody knew Keith. How could you miss him? That leads me into three people who are here today, who are actually here in this theater. When you talk about the official dealing with youth by Keith Yeiser, there's a man who dealt unofficially with youth from our village. He's sitting over there. He entered the Marines when he was 16, turning 17 years old. He's a survivor of Iwo Jima. He ran one of the largest industries in our town called Mamaroneck Garage. And I'm talking about Joe Jimano. Now, Joe, he also dealt with youth. He had buddies who worked at the high school. I'm sure one of them, according to my memory, was Joe Downey, the principal, who was a really beloved guy. And I can picture a phone conversation where Joe would call up Joe and say, Joe, I have a lad here who needs a bit of adjustment, if you know what I mean. Joe would say, send him on over. Joe would put him to work. He would teach him about life's responsibilities. I can't tell you how many students went through the Jimano Life Preparatory School. And he's sitting right over there. Wonderful man. The next person is another home, by the way, except for Marcella, these are all homegrown. The next person was one of the founders of the Mamaroneck School Foundation, which has given away probably more than $5 million to school projects not covered by budgets. He's a stalwart in the Larchmont Avenue Church. Bill Crawford's here as a visitor, and he'll tell you how much this man has meant to that church. He's one of the most important members of the board of the Community Resource Center, and I'm talking about my very good friend, John Ferris. And by the way, I ran into Susie the other night, and I was talking about Joe Jimano, and her comment was, there's not an organization that he didn't support, and that holds true for Joe and for John Ferris, in their own quiet, humble way. The third one is we have this combined Larchmont Mamaroneck Hunger Task Force, food pantry. It was in Columbus Park until Ida came. and destroyed all of the tents and so on. They have now found a home at 955 Mamaroneck Avenue, and they give out food every Tuesday. They do all kinds of things, and it's very, very hard work. And there's one person there. You talk to the folks in charge now, Catherine Carney from Larchmont and Malcolm Froman, who used to be a trustee in Larchmont. You talk to them about this fellow who comes, picks up crates, moves things around, does a little supervising, uses his pickup truck with a heart. I tell you, this is my brother, Bruce Meighan. I was taught volunteering by my family. On my father's side, the Meighan side, I'm the fourth generation here. My grandfather gave little Meighan Park next to Dr. Maloney's office there. It's sort of destroyed at the moment, but the state promises they're going to rebuild it after they get through that damn bridge. So my father, who was in the law firm, he was the 1976 bicentennial chairman. He brought back the Historical Society to life. He was the official historian of both the village and town of Mamaroneck. My Uncle Hunter, his brother, who Susie knew really well, spent 15 years as a state legislator representing us. My Uncle Howard, who probably made the best decision of not being a lawyer, but he held the distinction for many years of having been the youngest elected trustee in the village of Mamaroneck. He also happened to have been, I learned, an extra for Griffith out on Flagler Drive. Something. He also was a trustee, and you could look at the plaque in Village Hall. At the time, the village bought Village Hall from the Midnight Mission St. Michael's Home for wayward girls. And there's another tidbit of mine that I'll give at the summit that'll explain the wayward girls' homes. And now my son is on the board of the Washingtonville Housing Alliance. So my point is, keep it up, Larchmont or Mamaroneck. We love to volunteer. It's great satisfaction, and look at all of the wonderful organizations we have. But now to communication, because my current love is LMC Media. And look what it is doing in this community. And media, by the way, we are no longer, everybody still says TV, but we are media. We're on all kinds of platforms. What we do, are the production we did for Ida and the flood that the village has used, the program we did for the library. We do so many things. And I want to tell you, we are a private 501c3 organization. We are not municipally owned. We do get money from the cable money that comes into the municipalities, although our share has been diminishing over the last several years. But what I want to say in finality is, come join LMC. We need people. We love people. We want to have people around. And give us your teens. Let us instruct them the way you saw in the movie tonight. With humbleness, thank you.
Mr. Jeff Meighan. Jeff, on behalf of LMC, congratulations and thank you. It has been an absolute pleasure and a great honor working with you and calling you a friend all these years.
I'm staying on the board. I'm not leaving the board. and this is not a memorial service, I'm still going out to kick some blank.
Hear, hear. I want to take the time now just to invite our elected officials who have proclamations for you, Jeff, to please come to the stage and present them to Mr. Jeff Meighan. Catherine, would you like to start? Catherine Parker, our county legislator.
For you, by the way. Good evening. I am very pleased to be here. Jeff is so, you deserve this recognition so much. Honestly, when I was going through your bio, preparing the proclamation, every single organization in Larchmont Mamaroneck that you have contributed time, effort, it's just astounding. And the other thing about Jeff that I love is every time you open your mouth, I really learned something. I mean, honestly, it's incredible. So congratulations. I have a proclamation here from Westchester County. We do like to recognize the really outstanding individuals, and I will just read the last resolved clause here. Let me take my glasses off. That your day, let it be further resolved that that the members of the Westchester County Board of Legislators representing the 7th Legislative District and recognizing and congratulating Jeff Meighan is, as he is honored by LMC, that your day will be today, October 20th, and if your name will be up in lights on the Jumbotron. Very fitting for Hollywood on the Sounds at the Westchester County Center. I also just want to make note, that movie was incredible. And I gave you a check just now because honestly, I know you've all given, but do that again because it is such an amazing organization. There isn't another one like it of that caliber anywhere else in Westchester County. You are so fortunate to have it, and really we just need to support it. So thank you and congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Next, we have our state senator, Shelley Mayer.
I'm on this side. I'm on this side.
Shelley.
Anyway, even for the time I was here, I already learned more about the history of Mamaroneck, your contributions, but the spirit of volunteerism that you talked about, I have to say, representing so many communities, it's so noticeable here. It is like an 100% participation rate. It's quite remarkable that this community, and we saw it after Ida, just completely gets together on behalf of everyone else. It's a remarkable tribute, and you've been just a leader in that, and you continue to be. You're going to be on the board, so continue, and as you said, kick some whatever. And so it's a proclamation from the State Senate honoring you for your service, which I won't read, but I do want to lend my voice to Catherine about LMC. It is an extraordinary, extraordinary example, nothing like it. Not-for-profit, I'm glad you made that point, not a government entity, but truly there to serve the public and the community in a way that nobody else does. So thank you for your service to LMC, and congratulations.
Thank you,
Thank
Shelley.
you. Best to you. Best to you.
Thank you. Steve, would you like to come up next? Steve Otis, our assemblyman.
You know, I think the first thing I want to say is to talk about Jeff's speech, because I don't think I have ever heard a better speech about community than you gave here, in any community. And to talk about Julian Marzella and Keith, and to talk about many people here today, but it touched about what we're all about and what you're all about. And I don't go to an event in Larchmont or Mamaroneck where I don't see you and Marcia. I saw you the other night at the Mamaroneck Library, but you know, I mean, that's your message, but you gave it so well tonight. So a hand for Jeff in that speech, because that was really a special moment that we were here. That we were here for. I mean, we really got a piece of the history. But LMC and what you all have done, one should note that these are very difficult times for public access communication, community television, community broadcasting. And so one thing, besides all that LMC does, that Matt does, that the board does so successfully, you should understand that it is rare. Many of these operations in other communities have not survived. We have newspapers disappearing, and there's no one covering the community life of a community, a town, a village. And it's so important that it continues. And so Jeff and Sonny and everybody on the board and Matt and everybody here supporting LMC, you have made that possible, but it is rare, it is special, it is something that we cannot lose, we cannot afford to lose. So I have a proclamation from the State Assembly, but more importantly, my love and admiration.
Thanks, Steve.
Good job.
Thanks. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Steve. Next, I'd like to invite Town of Mamaroneck Deputy Supervisor Abby Katz.
Hi. Supervisor Eni, as you all know, could not attend tonight, and I know she really wanted to be here not only to celebrate Jeff, but LMC-TV and Matt, two of her favorite causes, and it's not just because her daughter was on the big screen, but I know she shares me. I am here with my Councilwoman Sabrina Fiddleman, and the entire town board joins, I know, with the Village of Mamaroneck's board in their continuing support for LMC and all you do for the community. It really means a lot to us, and it's just ironic that I'm the one speaking tonight because I hate watching myself on TV. I never watch a board meeting. I never anything. But I hear it's great and you do good work. So thank you for all you do.
Thanks, Abby.
And last but not least, Village of Mamaroneck Mayor, Mr. Tom Murphy.
Thanks, buddy.
We gave you one on wood.
Ooh, a hard one.
It's your tax dollars, and I'm not going to go into what it says there. You know, a lot of people have said a lot of great things about Jeff, and they're all true. You are there when this community needs you. Your family has been here for this community spanning a couple of centuries now, and the legacy continues. And I've asked you as mayor to do a tough job that you did with style and grace in a very difficult situation, and I'll always remember that. But there's another side to Jeff. He's not as calm and as sweet as he seems tonight all the time. And you learn that when you were on the other side of an issue. He is a fierce advocate for his position. But he never, holds grudges, and, after the fierce advocacy and the loud voices are calmed down, you're just going on to the next matter. And he's always a gentleman, but he believes strongly in the things he believes. And one of the things we are lucky about in this community is that he's always believed in the Village of Mamaroneck. And, we are eternally grateful that your family chose this community and have benefited this community for so many years. And, everything that's said about you tonight didn't really reach about the kind of man you are. And, we appreciate you here. And what we also appreciate is what you have done for LMC-TV and what LMC-TV has done for the Village of Mamaroneck, both during the floods, before that. The Village of Mamaroneck uses LMC-TV to keep our residents, who are very curious, informed at all times. And we have used that to great advantage, and we need that to continue. And we all need LMC to continue. It is not a sure thing. We're here tonight because we love this. We watched an amazing film that, you know how I know when I saw a good movie? I know I'm going to be thinking about it tomorrow. And I know I'm going to be thinking about this tomorrow, and the lessons that it imparted are going to be working on me tomorrow. Because, when I see all those children, and some of whom I know, some of whom I've worked with recently, talk about how the experiences of LMC-TV have molded them and have made them, more artistically involved and just more community involved. It just goes to show what this means to this community. And we could not have gone through the flood and recovered like we did without the communication and the media help that we got from LMC-TV. And we want that to continue. We need that to continue. As Jeff pointed out before, there isn't the local media that there used to be. When I was first on the village board, in the beginning of at the turn of the century, when I was first on the village board, there would be 3 reporters in the front row at every village board meeting. I haven't seen a reporter at a board meeting in 10 years. But LMC-TV is there every night. And LMC-TV, gives you the raw data, and you are there to, decide for yourself what happened. And I have used, on a personal level, I have used LMC-TV many times to get my message out to the community. If you've never seen the Tom Murphy show, it's what put LMC on the map, really. My dozens of viewers over the years. But truthfully, the ability, the camera doesn't lie. And if you're on camera pretty steadily for 20 years, people get to know who you are and what you're about. The pros, the cons, the good and the bad. And that's what you have afforded, somebody like, I'm watching this video about the village of Mamaroneck and Largemont, and I'm sitting there saying, how did I get to be mayor? Like, I'm pinching myself. Like, I want to grab my brothers and say, guys, did you see what happened here? So, I was voted least likely to succeed in my family. In some ways, that's true. But, this made me think, oh, my God, like, this is an amazing, amazing place. And, even though I love it, you could take it for granted because you're here. And when you see it on screen, it really jumps out at you, just how incredibly lucky we are. We're lucky to have LMC-TV, the great board of LMC-TV. We're lucky to have this movie theater back, but we're especially lucky in our volunteers and in the people who, for generations, have been pulling for this community, and we wouldn't be here without it. And Jeff, I wish you nothing but all the luck in the world.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you.
I want to say at a summit board meeting earlier this week, Elaine Chapnick, who has been our gracious leader for many, many years, she said, there is no longer any newspaper. And again, Susie, I will say, no longer can you go to Library Lane and walk into Ina Meyer's office and say, I don't like your editorial. That's what gave us. The Daily Times served us, Standard Star and Nurse Shell, the Daily Item. We no longer have them. We have LMC. And the next president, by the way, I didn't mention, Mark Litvin, who is here tonight, is going to be spectacular. He's got a hell of a background. He comes from being a managing director of the New York Shakespeare Festival, the City Center in New York. He has a theater background and a business background. We are going to go places.
Jeff, there's one other proclamation here from Westchester County Executive George Latimer, so we'd like to thank our county executive for this. And at this time, I do want to note, I just received a text that an anonymous donor helped us meet our goal tonight, and LMC has raised $85,000. So, that being said, we want to invite everyone who can make it and join us to Nona Corolla, which is just down the street. Make a left outside the exit. You don't have to cross a road. It's about a 1-minute walk. It's upstairs on the 2nd floor in their private room. So again, I want to thank all of you for joining us tonight. I want to thank our viewing audience at home or wherever you may be, because LMC is everywhere. Thank you very much. We love you guys.